Here's some storage terminology that it's good for you to know about. Some of this is going to be review. We've already talked about some of it, and some of it will be new. But if you look right here, we've got a few words which you should know about. Storage classification, so internal versus external. We already talked about that. If something's an internal hard disk drive, it goes inside the system unit or the case. If it's an external hard drive, it's outside the system unit or case, and we saw pictures of that. We also sometimes hear about remote storage. So remote storage is if I wanted to store something remotely from where I'm at. That's also sometimes referred to as cloud storage, sometimes even online storage or network storage. You'll hear the phrase cloud computing, the cloud, and even Google Drive here, right? This is partly remote storage because I am storing things away from where I'm at. So it can be referred to as remote storage, and you should know about that phrase. And that you should also know that remote storage, the cloud, cloud computing, online storage, network storage, those are all fairly similar concepts in the sense that we are storing something on a network that's apart from our physical location of our computer. So the most common phrase you hear these days is the cloud computing, the cloud. So you could say that this Google Drive is in the cloud. And all that means is it's remotely located from where I'm at. I get to it via the network of the internet, and Google stores this data. Who the hell knows where, but it's certainly not right here on my own computer. So that's a cloud storage. And then finally, we have a phrase mirrored storage. And what mirrored storage is basically you have two drives, and when you write to one, it writes the exact same thing to the other one. So you're automatically getting two copies every time you save something, and it's stored in two different drives. That way, if one of these drives crashes or dies or gets run over or gets blown up, or somebody smashes it with a hammer, or it's in an airplane and it falls out of the airplane and then it smashes on Mount Everest where a guy is climbing and hits it with his baton, if this drive dies, you still have this drive because when you save the data, it got mirrored. It was like a mirror, an exact reflection. Some got written here and the exact same thing got written here. So that's when you hear about mirrored drives. That's what mirrored drives are doing. When I talked about sometimes a distinction is made between the DVD and the device. Well, the device would be like the CD player or the DVD player, and the medium would be the disc. So device versus medium is a distinction that people sometimes make. Only in textbooks, actually. That's the only place I've ever heard it when talking about disks versus drives, the device versus the medium. We already talked about direct versus sequential access, so review that video if you still have a question about that. And finally, this other phrase you should know about is access speed. Access speed. And what access speed is how quickly can the data be accessed. So you'll hear sometimes when people get into detail about talking about storage, you'll hear them talk about, what's the access speed? Or that's one of the things that people who create storage are concerned about. How quickly can we access the data? What's the access speed? So some terms for you to know about, and just make sure you're solid with those terms. And this is what we're studying this week. So really a pretty light week. We just have a few more concepts here to learn about. We're going to look at magnetic and optical storage and a little bit of solid state storage. And then some essential computer skills, and then we're going to look at the Google Data Center, and we will be after that looking at a few YouTube videos, which are just for fun. Two of them are for fun, kind of motivational. Two of them are motivational, and one of them is really interesting about whether or not schools, the way they teach us, if they're teaching us in the best method possible. So that's my my little chip at being. You always got to question the system. Always got to question the system because the cornerstone of technology is innovation. And the only way you innovate is to look at what's currently being done and ask yourself, is it being done well enough? Is this the best way it could be done? Can we do it better? And so innovation is really the cornerstone of technology. So this video here, when we get to it at the end of this week, is a great video because it really questions whether or not schools teach us in the best way possible. So some great stuff coming.